All right, guys, welcome to the Strong Life podcast. This is your boy, Zach Evnesh. We've got a Q&A from the Instagrams. Recording this also for YouTube. I'm going to start doing that a little bit more from a business standpoint, leveraging and recording things to put it on different platforms is important. It's very hard spreading the word. Had a conversation with a friend of mine that I met in 2010 at an event called the Genius Network Mastermind. And that was for $1 million earners minimum. And they had an event where you could come to their weekend in New York City. And so we met in New York City. And I got to tell you, my online business, back when I was less intelligent, less educated, was booming a lot more than it is today. And the reason why is several reasons. But number one, a lot less competition. There were really not a whole lot of strength coaches sharing business information, training information. I was probably one of the earliest. I don't know who else was doing it. Maybe Charles Polquin and a couple others, private strength coaches who created their own certification. Back then, had the underground strength coach certification. Before we get started, we're going to see if there's any new reviews here on the Strong Life podcast. And we'll see how we go here. Let's see. Apple, Strong Life podcast. We'll see how everybody's doing on this. We're going to do a screen share. So if you're listening, you're going to miss out on that. That's okay. There we go. Screen share. And let's see how we're doing here. Okay. Last episode was episode 516. We're not halfway towards the 1,000 podcast mark. I've also done many other podcast episodes, and we've got no new reviews. What I really look to do is I'd say every episode, we have several hundred listeners. We should have, safe to say 3 new reviews. That would be great. If you don't leave a review because you've already left a review, best thing you could do is share with a friend. Just send out a text message. So in this episode, guys, Q&A, I open that up through Instagram. Sometimes I do it on Gladiator Strong to really cater to the members, the people who have skin in the game. And of course, you can reply anytime to my newsletter. Go to zachstrength.com, get the free training courses. And as I always say, those free training courses are not just good for men, they're good for athletes. And what do you add to the athlete training? Sprinting, jumping, med ball throws, the stuff that you see in the SSPC certification, but also in the underground strength coach certification. We have a bonus called the Underground Strength System for Combat Athletes. It's a video instructional, and you could look through that and see all of our plyometrics. But SSPC certification, when you're more of an experienced strength coach, you utilize that. So let's go through the questions right here. As you can see, guys, I don't make up these questions. I take what I get and I just crush it. And all right, this question comes from Brett. Brett has done the online certification. I'm pretty sure he started with underground strength coach, and he's a nutritionist and trains youth athletes in his neighborhood. And he's got a little quote / comment. Dan John has a great quote. Now, if you're with your son or daughter in your car, cover their ears. Dan John has a great quote. Eat like a fucking adult. Do adults understand that anymore? No. Listen, we're in a world where convenience has taken over. If you live in New Jersey, kids are eating their breakfast or skipping breakfast and getting their morning quote unquote breakfast from Starbucks or Wawa. Then they eat shitty food at school. The quality of food at schools, I cannot imagine is high quality unless you're at a private school or some sort of a prep school and they're shopping for more quality food. But I can't imagine that the food that's purchased in bulk that goes to public schools is healthy. I could be wrong. There could be other schools that bypass that, but I think it's safe to say we shouldn't really trust the government on that. And parents, I'm really shocked at how much parents and athletes don't know. And this is really a mistake I made, especially came to realization when I started coaching at the high school about 7 years ago, was I thought and I wrongly assumed that everybody would have more knowledge because I thought, oh, you're a baseball player. You must be researching and studying Eric Cressey. Oh, you're a football player. You must have watched, this is 7 years ago, Elliot Hulse's football strength training videos. Elliot was probably the most popular strength coach on YouTube for a while back then, and he was sharing strength and conditioning information. Now he has different information. We all evolve, but I was wrong. Kids were benching until they would almost die under the bar. Nobody squatted, and this was for 2 weeks while I was getting coaches and teams organized. And then after they did death-defying bench press, they went and did endless amount of curls and never put their weights away. And so we think that people have this knowledge because there's more information being shared out there, right? YouTube, even TikTok, Instagram, they have education on there, but they're not consuming that. I think most Americans, the majority, not us, we're the minority. We all think that we're all, oh, everybody's like us. They're consuming all this training information. They're learning. They're not. The majority are just consuming a lot of bullshit on social media. And I'm pretty sure I've heard that in China, the algorithm is geared towards educational information, whereas in America, the algorithm is more geared towards kind of distractive type information, stuff that like sends you down a rabbit hole and just causes, a lot of drama. I mean, and then of course the algorithm is whatever you're clicking on. So adults don't know. I mean, this is a big reason why we see athletes not getting stronger or building muscle. It's because of what's going on at home. Parents often don't make their kids breakfast. We think that it's normal activity. It is not. Parents send their kids to school to buy school lunch. I make chicken and rice almost every day for my kids. Kids come home, they do not have home cooked meals for the most part. For the most part, they have some sort of a takeout. In fact, it's not odd to hear kids saying that, whoa, my mom never cooks. We just get takeout every day. And we're in a different world. It's, everything's about convenience, ease, and comfort. And so I think a lot of people, men and women, they're like, I don't want to cook and then I don't want to clean. Let's order takeout. And that's how it goes. Okay, let me sip some water. Gotta tell you, I'm crazy thirsty today. Very hot. This question is great. This question comes from one of our athletes at the underground, comes from Jake. And this goes to show you we send information on this topic on the regular, and parents don't read emails. So Jake asks, what meat is the best for bulking? Now, we don't talk about bulking. We talk about gaining size, gaining strength, 5 meals by the end of the day, 3 meals by 3 o'clock, breakfast, lunch, afternoon meal, then dinner, and then at night, dinner leftovers or another breakfast or a protein shake. But what meat is best for bulking? Well, red meat is going to have higher fat content than chicken or fish. And the food that's in a kid's house all depends on the parents. So I stock up on most of our meats from an Amish market or a Amish farmer or Mennonite farmer. I sometimes do go to the supermarket. I hate to do that because you never know exactly what the hell is in it. Could go to butchers, but it's like, who can we trust? I mean, the word organic has been so watered down. So when I hear the word bulking, all I hear about is why don't you just eat plenty of food on the regular? And if you're trying to get big, and I ask you what you had for breakfast, then you skip breakfast, no good. So somebody like Jake who's trying to gain size, breakfast is going to be, 3 or 4 eggs, 2 pieces of toast with butter, 2 bananas, a glass of chocolate milk. Then you're going to have lunch, could be 1 or 2 turkey sandwiches, another glass of chocolate milk, 2 pieces of fruit. It could be chicken and rice, could be steak and potato, could be spaghetti and meatballs, those types of combinations. Then in the afternoon, Might be a protein shake, might be a sandwich. You hear me talking about like turkey sandwiches, ham and cheese sandwiches, chocolate milk. When you're a teenager, you can eat that way, especially if you are a wrestler like Jake and you're burning so many calories. When you're an adult, I don't recommend eating sandwiches. I recommend eggs, chicken and rice, fish, steak, ground beef, sweet potatoes, lots of water, um, drinking milk. Everybody responds differently to that. When I drink raw milk, I don't get it that regular. It gives me a little bit like, I don't want to say upset stomach, but like it's got, I think, got a lot of enzymes in it. There's going to be a little spot opening up in Manasquan, a little dairy slash butcher. So I'm going to try their milk. And, listen, I'm almost 50. Guys, I say this all the time. I'm not inspired to have a six pack or to be ripped. If I'm hungry, I eat. I want to feel strong. I don't want to be starving myself. I'm just not into that. I don't see a benefit of that outside of looking better on the beach. I want to be functional. I want to be capable. I want to be able to carry my kids on my back. If somebody is, bothering us, I want to be able to kick their ass and not be like, oh, I'm so tired. I've been carb depleting. I don't want to be in that stupid situation. My buddy Jonas DeFest says we got to do another real talk. Um, you can go back and listen to podcasts on Apple. I believe 200 episodes prior, but we're at 517 right now. So if you want to listen to Real Talk podcast that I did with my buddy Jonas, you go to my website, zachevnish.com. It's linked below, and you use the search button. By the way, what else do you want to learn about? Football, wrestling, strength and conditioning, the business of strength and conditioning, training in your 40s, training in your 50s, training in your 30s, rehab after a knee surgery, coming back from injury, shoulder, health exercises, kettlebell training, sandbags, strongman training, program design, mindset, mental toughness, grit. I just threw out 20 different topics, and those are areas I've dug deep into. So use the search bar at zachevnish.com. Message from Matt Vreeland. What is the best place to start as I become more passionate about training from a coaching perspective? Great question. This is not self-serving. This is very important. Start with my underground strength coach certification. Put your blinders on. Go deep down the rabbit hole of my underground strength coach cert. Review the videos multiple times. Take notes while you're watching the videos. There's a multiple choice exam at the end. Utilize your notes. When you're done with the multiple choice exam, you now have a practical portion where somebody's going to hold the camera and record you training others, training yourself, training a friend, training a family member. I'm usually not a fan of coaches training their family members. More recommend you training a friend and also or training a real client, and also getting comfortable with public speaking and coaching. Anytime I have a coach that has not good public speaking and social skills, I'm very much of the school of thought of encouraging you to work as a waiter, a waitress, a bartender, and get used to speaking with people. And also coaching sports. Get involved, volunteer and coach sports. Find your voice. After you do the underground strength coach cert, apply it, do the workouts yourself, print out the underground strength manual. When you sign up for the cert, you're also going to get business bonuses. You're getting seminars, so you get to see myself, Joe DeFranco, Matt Wenning speaking, public speaking, coaching each other, the art of coaching. I'm very intrigued and kind of shocked with how many coaches don't have good public speaking skills. But I do think some of the issue is they're so connected to their phone. Much of their communication is text messaging or messaging through social media, where most of your communication, if all, is in person. And so you got to get your boots on the ground. That being said, if somebody ever wants to do the certification in person at the underground, I don't hold those certifications anymore. I'll tell you why. I hate having to chase people to learn. You should be hungry to learn and pounding down my door. Somebody asked me recently on their podcast, where did I meet Joe DeFranco? I told them I met Joe by first and foremost, he had a Q&A on his website. There's no podcast, no videos back then. I devoured his whole website. I read everything. Then I emailed him on the regular. I purchased all his courses, but I emailed him for 6 months requesting a business consultation. He kept putting it off, he kept delaying it. I think Joe was very protective over what he was doing back then. And eventually, he said yes. I had commented on every single Ask Joe segment on his website that he felt like, hey, man, I could trust this guy. This guy's a friend, actually. And so I took a sick day from teaching, drove up to North Jersey, paid Joey D in cash, and spent an hour with him in that storage closet talking about business and training. What's interesting is I didn't say I'm too good for training and bypass all that and only ask business questions. And the reason why I say that is there has been many seminars where people would show up, coaches, and say, I'm just here for the business Q&A. And I wanted to say, like, what? That's it. You're done learning. You're too good to learn. You have this perfect system. You don't need to learn from me. It was quite embarrassing. I'm always shocked when a sport coach or a strength coach is too good to learn. Like, guys, I've achieved, the Mount Everest. I don't need to learn anymore. It's an embarrassment to the profession. So, best place to start, USC certification, undergroundstrengthcert.com, linked up below. Then SSPC certification. Both of my certs come with bonuses. They have business bonuses, training bonuses. They both come with a 1-year bonus to Underground Strength Academy. I mean, the amount of stuff I pour into it and the lack of action on people's part blows my mind. So now, Matt, we're going to see if you want have skin in the game, you'll sign up for a cert, my man. Okay. And I think that's all the questions. Oh, I missed this one. I'm sorry. This comes from Chris Ferry. 531, that's Jim Wendler's program, combined with conjugate training. It's a game changer. Comma, thoughts, question mark. Well, Jim always says, as soon as you add something to his program or somebody else's program, you are no longer on their program. But that being said, you can certainly use specialty bars and change the grips and so forth of your assistance lifts. So you could take a 3-week squat cycle and it could be a straight bar. The next 3 weeks could be safety squat bar. But Jim doesn't do box squats. He doesn't do front squats. It's just back squat. Okay. Military press, straight bar. Then the farm bar. That's my thick bar with INTEK strength. If you want to order the farm bar, it's linked up below with episode 507. You could also see videos of me using it on Instagram and YouTube. But also the farm bar to order it, it's not on the INTEK strength website. So you have to reach out to me, respond to the newsletter, and I'll give you Jason Boogard's direct email. He is my partner over at INTEK. So we're talking about the specialty bars, the farm bar. INTEK also makes a neutral grip bar. It's awesome. I have it. If the straight bar deadlift is too much for you, it's beating up your body, beating up your back, you should now just use the trap bar. And so you can make these tweaks, but you got to stay the course with the recommended percents, with the recommended rep ranges, all that stuff. Otherwise, you're no longer on the program. And it's funny, people will say this all the time, like, oh, I'm taking a break from your program. Then they ask me about somebody else's program. And I don't want to sound like a dick here, but it's kind of a dick move for somebody to do that. If you want information on anybody else's program, then you should contact them. And if they don't respond to you, then it's up to you to move forward and invest in that person's program. I respond to everybody, but there's, I guess, a slight difference between being nice and kind. I'm very nice, but I think people take advantage of it. And it's like, oh, he's answering all my questions, and you've never even purchased a $7 ebook from me. Now I'm going to ask Zach questions about somebody else's program. It's kind of rude, basically. What that is. So I always say, ask questions to the person that you want to get that information from. And, this is kind of something in the business world, in the entrepreneur world, is people don't value your time and what you're doing. And we used to train a kid at the underground. He was a high school athlete. And he wasn't a standout at all. He wasn't tough. I mean, he just was not like a wasn't really even a great kid. Take a sip of water before I thrash this kid. He worked hard, but he just wasn't a standout. He wasn't trying to be a great athlete. It just his dad found out about us. His dad brought him to us, and that's that. Then a little bit outside of high school, a little bit after high school, he reached out to us and was wanted to prepare to enter one of the branches of the military. And we were going to sign him up. And he came in that day, and I was like, don't worry about it. We'll just get you signed up the next time you come in here. And he trained with us. He hadn't trained with us for a bit. And then he spent a good amount of time in the bathroom. I think he threw up, took a shit, did all that stuff, and blew up the bathroom. And he basically got crushed. And we're preparing him for military. And then the next day, he's like, things have changed, circumstances have changed. I don't think I could do it. I can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, no problem. You can pay for your one visit that you came in yesterday. He's like, well, the fuck does it matter? You're there anyway. I was like, yes, but we spent and invested our time in you. We coached you. We trained you. Just because other people are there doesn't mean it doesn't matter. And that's the interesting thing about business. And same thing, like when you own the business, you take that heat, you take on those expenses, you take on those damages. And that's why, as the gym owner, it's like, hey, I got to buy equipment that can withstand the punishment of not just training, but also people who don't give a shit about what you have. They might damage your equipment, and you have to find a way to get stuff or find a company that makes equipment that can withstand not just mileage of training, but stupidity of people who don't care about anyone else. And I've said what's interesting is, you could be working in a school and you'll watch teachers walk right by garbage. They'll walk by trash. They won't even pick it up. And it's like, wow, that is the ultimate sign of not caring. And one of my favorite things about CrossFit, Greg Glassman, and CrossFit doesn't have a good name, although I really enjoyed CrossFit in its early infancy years. And I really enjoyed the community and the kind of people that were in it back then. Greg Glassman has a video on YouTube, and I was at this. It was the CrossFit affiliate gathering, and he said, if I go in and observe you coaching, and I see you teaching cleans, and when you demonstrate, you're pulling a little bit too much with the arms, and you're not getting that big, shrug pull. He's like, that just tells me you're a work in progress. You're working on it. You're not perfect. He's like, that's okay. He's like, but if I walk into your bathroom and it looks like shit, he's like, that is fatal because a dirty bathroom tells me that you don't give a shit. And he's like, that I cannot change. Only you can change that. And the point being is, a lot of people don't care. I had a conversation today with Coach Jeff Buxton. He's the assistant wrestling coach at Columbia University with Donnie Pritzloff, Sebastian Rivera. Sebastian's an Olympian. We trained him a little bit in high school, not much, for like a year. Donnie Pritzloff, one of my favorite coaches to work with. But my buddy had asked me, how'd you work? How did you get to work with Coach Buxton? And I spoke about how I had seen a documentary on him. I reached out to him through the school email and wanted to send him the underground strength manuals. Back then, we printed the manuals. They were massive. Where the underground strength manual back then was either just under or just over 500 pages. It also came with the no rules training manual. It came with a stone training manual, not Atlas stones, but like odd object stones. It came with the Gladiator training DVD. And long story short, Coach Buxton was very excited to learn, even though Blair Academy was #1 in the country. And there were multiple kids on his team that were defending national champions. He didn't need my help, but he wanted to learn. He was hungry to learn. And I'm going to tell you why. He cared. He genuinely cared about the success of his wrestlers. Yes, of course, he loved winning, but he was very excited to learn. And when you love the people that you serve, you're excited to give them the best effort, the best version of you. And that means if you expect them to improve, you yourself will improve. And so I'm just looking to see if any more questions came in. No more questions came in. But the bottom line is people who care will win more. People who don't care will damage things. They won't care about things, and they won't value your time, and they won't value your belongings. So only spend time with those that genuinely care. And I think that's the tough thing about being a strength coach is sometimes we care more than the kids and we care more than the parents, and they don't see what we're giving them and they don't value it. So sometimes that's a little bit heartbreaking. But as my buddy Craig Fitzgerald says, being a strength coach is not our job. It's our calling. That's it, guys. Go to zachstrength.com. Check out the links below. Check out my partners from Defend USA, Recovery Compression Gear, the best. 20% off code is Zach. And just see all the other links and resources below. Thank you, guys. Leave a 5-star review. I'm out of here.